Welcome to cool California. Now behind me in the 1930s is one of the fields that my grandfather was farming. A lot of people drive through this foothill, dry grass and oak tree looking country and they have no idea this is where all the wheat and barley was being grown from the gold rush all the way up to, say, the 1950s. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One is it's right here. I mean, this is where the gold is going. And a lot of people go, well, you couldn't grow out there. You planted in November, you let the winter rains and everything provide the moisture, and you would harvest it in June, all right? So all this behind me and off that direction, this was being farmed. Horses, donkeys, mules, oxen pulling the plow. So when you see all these hand-stacked rock walls, that's why. Because this is where your bread, literally, and your beer was coming from. The other thing to it is you couldn't farm the San Joaquin Valley. Valley fever, which is a fungus in the soil, lives up to about 800 feet in elevation. If you're behind a mule and you're inhaling that dust, the particles are used to growing the mold spores in a swamp. Your lungs are a perfectly good swamp and they will grow and rupture, and within 2 to 3 days you can die bleeding internally in your lungs from valley fever. So in the 1920s, my grandfather said the San Joaquin Valley, at best, you hunted pronghorn antelope from a Model T. It was B-grade rangeland. You really couldn't farm it until you got the Delta Mendota and all these big canals, the infrastructure for the water systems, and mechanization to protect yourself from those mold spores. This is where the wheat and the barley was being grown. It was winter wheat, winter barley. And just to point this out, right here, in, I think it was 1933, it snowed in June and ruined the crop. Everybody at the time was blaming, it's the Kaiser and his Zeppelins. They've screwed up the atmosphere. They've changed the climate. The old people here in Cool in the 1930s, 1933, said that they remembered the centennial, that's 1876. There was enough snow on the backside of Pilot Hill, which is right, it's a quarter mile from here. There was enough snow on the north side of Pilot Hill to make ice cream for the 4th of July celebrations. We get weird weather. Whether Margaret's got a can of hairspray or there's an SUV. In 1933, we're blaming the Kaiser and his Zeppelins for having a snowstorm in June. In 1876, nobody knew who to blame, but there was snow on the north side of Pilot Hill that you could make ice cream on the 4th of July. Wacky weather, we got it, we always have, but just pointing out, here's a spot, here's a story, and it happened right here.